And while we're here feeling this, I want to just bring back some things that we've all had contact with before, with Elias through Nirtan Chi, for example. And the first I want to mention is this notion of empty, full. Empty, full. And just see how that becomes a dance that we're doing all the time. Empty, full. Hara hachibume. We leave space for new to arrive. We empty out, we fill. We empty out, we fill. This is happening all the time. One of the ways that we do this is breath. Breath is an incredibly powerful teacher. And I know that many, if not every single one of you, knows this, just innately. And this is why these strange words are written on the board, because I wanted to just share a little bit of this very old wisdom that comes from Japanese tradition, but also even before that, it comes from China, through their incredibly imaginative and perceptive understanding of language, which is visual, it's creative. Just by virtue of seeing it, it tells a story. It reminds you of something. And so this first set of characters here, I've written up there the Japanese word for breath, which is kokyu. Kokyu. And I've written this up there for a very particular reason, because it tells us something about what breath is. And before I say what that is, I want everyone to just take a breath. Okay? Now, to illustrate why this is important, how many of you began with an inhale? Just raise your hand. Okay, so that's almost everyone. This very old word for breath, the left-hand side, can you guess what it means?
Exhale.
Exhale. Empty. Exhale. Empty. Now you can know what the other side is. Inhale. Fill back up. Empty, full. Breath. Life. I personally find it noteworthy that when we inhale, we're bringing in the outside, which expands us. So the bringing in expands us. That's filling up. The exhaling, which is actually putting ourselves back out into what's there, the emptying actually contracts us, right? Physically, we're doing this. The empty full is a physical act as well. And so I don't want to get too esoteric with any of this, but I just would like everybody to try this. Just 3 breaths. You know, we can actually do this in the way that Elias has introduced, because it's probably familiar to most people, is the 3 breaths, which, if you remember the instruction, is first an exhale, and you exhale all the way to the bottom of the breath until you feel like you have none left, and then you puff it out before you take your inhale. So let's do that together, just 3 times to feel that empty, full dance. So just in your own time. I would just invite us all to let that be a physical reminder of what this is, what the big picture of nourishment is. That it's emptiness first, making space first, clearing the chatter first, stopping, so we can listen. And from the listening, we can open a door, open many doors, open windows, open ourselves. I just have a few more words to say. It also struck me that this empty full and the kokyu, the exhale, inhale, has very much in common with what Sufis talk about with fana and baka. That one is the emptying out, the fana is the emptying out, and then the baka is the abiding with the emptiness. It's what allows other to show up as this. And so I wrote two other words, two other characters, and a word up here also, and I'll try to stand clear of this. This is also just an interesting coincidence of language, but in Japanese, the word ma, which is that first character there of this set, ma means space. It means, and it comes in the very precise Japanese aesthetics. So if you imagine ikebana, the flower arranging, that ma is the empty space. It's like, Elias, you just quoted the Debussy, the music is the space between the notes, right? That's ma. That's ma. That's the emptiness. And then this other word, sora, it actually means the sky. And this is a nice connection to what we've often heard Longchenpa come into some of these discussions about the clear, empty sky. And so the sky has this vastness to it. And it also means space, whereas ma is more of the gap. It's not this expansive feeling, it's the interval. It's what is in between, the interstice. So when you put these two words together, I love this, another word actually that the sky means is pause. You can probably see where this is going at this point. But when you put together empty and pause, this third word that comes from the two together, kukan. Kukan means spaciousness. Empty and pause, spaciousness. So I bring these up because, again, the question that we started with is what nourishes us? But we have to be able to answer the question. We have to be able to meaningfully engage with that question, which, from my view, means rolling all the way back up to where we tend to miss it, where I tend to miss it. It's in stopping, listening, opening. In our small group yesterday, it was Michaela that talked about wanting to open the third eye, and I suggested that perhaps it's more opening a third ear. So that's, our eyes already overpower our senses, we know this. Our visual field accounts for something like 80 or 90% of all of our visual stimuli. It's overpowering. We have two ears. I quoted Mark Twain also, who said, if we were meant to speak more than listen, we'd have two mouths and one ear. So we need to develop our third ear so we can work on our listening.